The Democrat Party lost their way a long time ago, guys. I mean, they used to be basically the party of the little guy. Then out of nowhere, they turned into the party of big money donors, big gigantic corporations that were looking for, basically the next cause to promote to the top of the list so they can make money off of the next cause, guys. I mean, while turning off the overwhelming majority of Americans. That's what they did exclusively. That's basically what they do. Period. But either way, name of the video is Democrats admit the party lost themselves on key issues. This is a suggestion via a channel member. Let's jump into it, guys.
Live to Bill Malusian at the border, back at the border for the first time in 7 months. We start with Bill in Eagle Pass, Texas. Good morning there.
Bill, good morning to you as well. When Tom Homan arrives here tomorrow, he is going to be sending a message, and that message is that the Trump administration wants to be a partner for the state of Texas, not an adversary like we've seen with the Biden administration, which has essentially sued Texas every single time they've tried to secure their own border. Here in Eagle Pass, things have remained very active. Take a look at this video. This was shot right here yesterday by Texas State Troopers, which encountered a large group of 200 illegal immigrants that just crossed here. Now, mixed in with that group, look at this, 60 unaccompanied migrant children, some as young as 2 years old. These are tiny little kids who are here with no adults, no guardians, being trafficked into the country by drug cartels and human smugglers. Some of them have little pieces of paper with addresses scribbled on them, places they want to go in the country to reunite with friends or family. And Texas.
Bro, imagine purposely sending your kid on this journey. I mean, I get it. Times must be excessively hard for someone to actually do this, but bro, come on. Come on, guys.
Troopers talked to some of these kids about where they're going. Some of the states we heard: Florida, California, Texas, New York, Missouri, Washington, Wisconsin, many others. And some of these kids included a 2-year-old girl. Yes, a 2-year-old girl, completely alone. She was from El Salvador, had a paper with an address on it, and she told Texas troopers she wants to meet with her family here in the U.S. Take a listen.
Venezuela, mamá. Venezuela. ¿Sí? ¿Qué tantos años tienes? ¿Dos años? ¿No vienes con tu mamá y tu papá? ¿No? ¿Venezuela? ¿Para dónde vas, mamá? ¿Dónde están? ¿Estados Unidos?
What? Guys, I'm sorry. Like, listen. This is just all absolutely shocking. Initially, when I saw the fact that the video was just basically taken today, it frustrated me because I was like, bro, what do you mean today? Then I remembered that there were 6 migrant caravans heading towards the United States of America. Here, I guess, are some of them. The fact that you're sending your kid across the border in this type of way is absolutely psychotic, guys. You need to probably look into the parents, regardless of wherever they are in the world, because this is not acceptable. I cannot imagine at all my 2-year-old kid being around any of these people. I don't know these people, bro. Or even having to walk through a border, guys, with a piece of paper. I mean, there's so many questions here, guys.
And mixed in with that group of more than 200 people were also this handful of illegal immigrants from the African countries of Mali and Angola, as we continue to see people from halfway around the world showing up here at our southern border. Again, it's not just Mexico and the Northern Triangle countries. They are literally coming from all
over the world.
The planet.
Right.
That includes this group of guys as well. Take a look at these photos here. This was last week here in Eagle Pass. Texas DPS apprehending this group of men from Afghanistan who crossed here in Eagle Pass. Now, all these guys are going to be considered what DHS calls special interest aliens due to national security concerns.
Right.
These guys should receive additional DHS vetting, but as we've seen many times in the past now, sometimes that does not always happen. And then lastly, take a look at this drone video Texas DPS gave us. What they're doing out here in Eagle Pass is they're running what they call mass migration drills, basically trying to prepare for any mass rush or migrant caravan that could try to run the border here sometime before Trump shows up in office. They want to show a posture that the red carpet is not going to be rolled out. You will be deterred if you try to cross illegally. And back out here live, as for all those unaccompanied kids we were showing you, remember President Biden's executive order, his crackdown he did back in June, it does not apply to unaccompanied children. As for what happens to them next,
Oh, well, that's the reason why. So that obviously the people that are basically funding this and kind of moving it, allowing it to even exist, let's say, they're obviously staying up to date, let's say, with whatever standards we're putting out of the White House. So this is the reason why they're doing this, right? The numbers that are only allowed on a daily basis do not account for unaccompanied minors. So they're gaming the system, guys.
Border Patrol will transfer them to HHS. HHS will then be responsible for caring for them. They will then try to find them adult sponsors or family all across the United States. And guys, the important point, if RFK Jr. gets confirmed as the next HHS Secretary for Donald Trump, RFK Jr. is going to be responsible for caring for these migrant kids when they show up here at our southern border.
So you're in Maverick County, Bill. How did the border issue resonate with voters in this election?
Everywhere we went, all over the campaign trail, everybody was talking about the economy and the border. It was always in the top two lists of issues. And everything's going to change down here. I mean, you think about it, it's going to be a 180 in posture from the federal government. We're standing in Shelby Park right now, which is still completely locked down by the state of Texas. Remember, they kicked out Biden's Border Patrol because they were getting so fed up with the barbed wire being cut, heavy machinery being brought in here to tear up Texas barriers. The Biden administration sued Texas when they were trying to put the buoys in the water, when they were trying to pass SB 4, their own border security bill. Abbott got so frustrated, he eventually started busing migrants to sanctuary cities around the country. The idea being, if you're not going to take the border seriously, we're going to bring the border to you. So look, the Trump administration ran on the border. It resonated with voters. They wanted a change. It looks like they're going to get a change because we have Tom Homan coming down here now. He'll be here with Governor Abbott, wants to shake the hands of the Texas troopers, shake the hands of the Texas National Guard, look them in the eye and say, a new sheriff is in town. We're going to be your partners. We're going to help you secure this border.
Bill, you answered the question about mass deportations, but let me ask you this and how Texas is preparing. Do you have any insight into how the cartels are preparing for this change?
The cartels always seem to adapt to whatever policy is in effect at the border, and they're very, very good at that. It might take them weeks or months to adapt, but we saw that once Title 42 ended. We saw more rushes of people coming across the border. Texas is preparing in a big way, though. You guys might have heard Texas is actually giving the Trump administration a plot of land over 1,000 acres down in the Rio Grande Valley to kind of set up camps to help carry out these mass deportations. That is not something we could ever imagine happening under the Biden administration. There has been a very adversarial relationship with Texas and the Biden administration, and come January, after Trump's inaugurated, we're likely going to see that do a total 180, and everything's going to switch down here.
Like, that makes all the sense in the world, but keep this in mind. I mean, historically, Texas, for the most part, is adversarial state in the first place. Let's just point that out there, just from the beginning.
Girl, this is going to be a story for the next 4 years for sure. Bill, good to have you back there at your post, Eagle Pass, Texas.
Yes, thank you, Bill. And Democrats in Massachusetts are doubling down on their efforts to hinder looming deportations. One city, Somerville, is set to vote tomorrow on a resolution to reaffirm its sanctuary city status. That comes just days after ICE agents nabbed an illegal immigrant there who's wanted for drug trafficking back in Brazil. Molly Ryan is in Boston with the details. Molly, do they have the votes to reaffirm?
We shall see, and I hate to get ahead of the city council there. That's a nearby community just outside of Boston. Boston also a sanctuary city. There are about half a dozen sanctuary cities across the state of Massachusetts. But focusing on Somerville, the city council is going to take this up. They've had actually a long-held commitment since the late 80s to being a sanctuary city, and that vote expected tomorrow. The move coming, though, just a week after and despite ICE agents' arrest of an accused and wanted drug trafficker from Brazil in that city. ICE has blurred his face, blurred his name. That's being withheld. But ICE Boston reports that this 38-year-old will now face justice in his home country. Somerville's refurbished a resolution would include funding for legal representation for people facing deportation and reaffirms a promise that the police department will not cooperate with external law enforcement agencies on matters related to immigration detainment. ICE Boston has been very busy across the Bay State in just recent months, arresting at least 17 men accused of crimes, including child. According to the Enforcement and Removal Operations arm of ICE Boston, These men are all here illegally. At least 9 of the men are what's commonly referred to as gotaways. In several cases, the accused men were released into the public despite ICE detainer requests. For instance, 21-year-old Maynard D. Paz Munoz, a Guatemalan national, was charged with the child by force in February, arrested by the Great Barrington Police Department. ICE Boston reports that a detainer was lodged but then ignored. Great Barrington is a sanctuary city. Paz Munoz was released on bail, and ICE officials were able to arrest him months later on November 12th. There's been a...
Guys, to my knowledge, like for my entire life, if you came into the country in a way that you probably shouldn't have, right? Or if you were just waiting for any type of like documentation, like, I don't know, a work visa or like a green card. And if you were arrested for some reason, you were like instantly sent back. Was that like a myth or something, guys? Because I remember this being the running story or like the thing. Even when so for example, guys, I am a resident of Spain, and my wife is a resident of the United States of America, a green card holder type of thing, guys, right? And so my thing is, I remember going through her paperwork, getting everything started, and basically them talking about if you get arrested, pack it up. How are people in the United States of America, like during the unknown process, let's say, even like allowed to get arrested and not be sent back home, and for crazy things, guys? These sanctuary cities should not exist. That's just the overall gist here, right?
A long back and forth going between the Boston mayor and the governor here in the state of Massachusetts and federal officials, the mayor and the governor promising to push back against Trump's plans at mass deportation. Dana, back to you.
All right, Molly Line, thank you.
Thank you, Molly. Kayleigh McEnany here on a Monday morning. Nice to see you. Fox News Sunday with Jillian Turner working for Shannon, the Democratic Senator from Pennsylvania, John Fetterman, on the risk Democrats took by ignoring the border issue in this election.
One area where we kind of lost ourselves was the border. It can't be controversial for our party to be pro-immigration, but we need a secure border. And when we ask or demand people to not believe what they see and see those kind of numbers, that's not a problem.
He was warning even before the election about immigration, especially in Pennsylvania. Biden and Harris did very little on this for 4 years.
Very little.
They actually did a lot, guys. But hold on. I think what Biden and Harris did specifically they were trying to fix the problem, I think, at the source, right? Like, whose fault is it? We can probably start right there. Whose fault is it? It's the economy's fault. It's when we shut down the world, basically, for that 1 year, we messed up a lot of countries by doing that, specifically countries that utilize the dollar. So when we started printing money like it was basically fake, we messed up a lot of countries. Now, so to my knowledge, at least here, guys, Biden and Harris were actually trying to do a lot, but not a lot at the border. They were trying to fix it, I think, at the source. Like they were literally going into countries pretty much consistently trying to figure out ways and funding grant programs and things like that. They were trying to figure out ways to make people not want to come in the first place. But I guess in their heads, they were like, you know what? But if they get to the border, then whatever, you let them come in. That's the problem, right? That right there, that's an issue. But they were actually, in fact, trying to do it. Let's not be intellectually dishonest here, guys. But their plan, unfortunately, wasn't a working one, at least, because it was terrible. They really should have done what they were doing, obviously, along with securing the actual border. They didn't care about that, but they were actually doing something, and that's pretty much noted. But was it relevant to the actual to stopping copious amounts of individuals coming? No, it wasn't, because those individuals didn't want to be there anyway, guys. What needs to happen is we need to send something to Congress, and Congress needs to seriously fix the definition of asylum. Economic migrancy is not the reason for asylum. This is why the majority of people are going to be sent back due to what? Asylum fraud, guys. Right? 80 to 90% are here under asylum fraud, basically. guys. But all right, listen, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I do not think that the Democrat Party is going to learn from this at all. But they care too much about people's feelings rather than things that are actually happening for some reason. But either way, guys, they're lost, I guess, right? Listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. This is my lightsaber. Hey, guys. You guys subscribe to the other channels? Logical Movie Reviews with Mr. L. Boyd, along with Mr. L. Boyd Music. Oh, also, Mr. L. Boyd Discusses. Guys, check it out. And if you haven't heard it today, it's amazing.